Yo, what's going on, guys? Today I'm going to be going over the MLB slate on DraftKings and Yahoo for Tuesday, August the 20th. We're going to look at Tuesday's 15-game slate. Start off with pitching. We'll work our way through the pitcher-player pool. I'll be sure to hit on all the pitching options that I like for today. Then we'll look at 3 specific hitters I really like. We'll talk about some stacks that I'll be going to. And then towards the end of the video, we will look at some BVP for those of you that are interested in BVP. But before we do get started, guys, I would appreciate it if you would drop a like on this video. And if you are new to the channel, if you have not subscribed yet, make sure you click that subscribe button down below. I would really appreciate it. But starting off at the top of the pitcher-player pool, Clayton Kershaw is our most expensive option today. He is $12K on DraftKings, and over on Yahoo, Kershaw also the most expensive pitcher at $53. So Kershaw is in a home matchup against the Blue Jays. He's definitely in play for me, but he's not going to be my top option. This is a pretty decent matchup. The Blue Jays do have some strikeouts in their lineup versus left-handed pitching. Kershaw's been great lately. The K's have been there too as well. His last 4 starts, he does have 3 of his 4 starts with at least 9 strikeouts. 3 of his 4 starts, he's got at least 27 DraftKings points. So Kershaw has shown some upside lately. Just given the slate, though, and the other options that we have, there are other pitchers to target other than Kershaw. If this was like an 8-game slate and Kershaw was like the only stud pitcher, I would have a lot more interest. But just given the fact that we have Bieber, Herman, even Strasburg, Sonny Gray at 9,700 really stands out. Don't feel like a need to pay $12K for Kershaw. I think over on Yahoo, that's where he's a lot more appealing at $53 because the price difference between all the other guys isn't much. Like Strasburg's only $1 less, Bieber's $3 less. Sonny Gray I like a lot on DraftKings at 9,700. Where Sonny Gray's all the way up to $46 over on Yahoo. I don't think he's really as necessary. So you could definitely go to Kershaw on Yahoo. I think that's where he makes more sense. But if I were to pay up for one of the guys above 10K, I think my favorite play would be Bieber. Bieber's someone that I like a lot over on Yahoo at only $50. So he gets to face the Mets. This is a pretty good matchup for Bieber. The Mets do have some strikeouts in their lineup versus right-handed pitching. You get some strikeouts from guys like Rosario. Pete Alonso will strike out versus righties, Ramos, Davis, Frazier, Lagares. Against a pitcher like Bieber who has elite strikeout stuff, even guys like Panic, Conforto who don't strike out much, still we could see them K here versus Bieber because of how good of a pitcher Bieber is and how much strikeout upside he has. Plus the pitchers in the lineup as well. Steven Matz batting 9th, which is pretty much a free strikeout. So I like Bieber a lot here, especially on Yahoo where he's $50. If I were to pay for one of those guys above 10K on DraftKings, he would be my favorite option at 11.6. But I don't have much interest in paying up to those top-tier guys because over on DraftKings, Sonny Gray is way underpriced in my opinion at 9,700. So Sonny Gray is going to face the Padres at home. This is a very friendly matchup for strikeouts. The Padres do have a lot of strikeouts in their lineup versus right-handed pitching. They have a low run total as well, just a 3.8 implied run total. The fact that Sonny Gray is almost $3,000 cheaper, or close to $3,000 cheaper than Clayton Kershaw, he's $2,000 cheaper than Bieber. I would say there's a chance that Gray could outscore Kershaw or Bieber. The fact that he's so much cheaper makes me really like him over on DK. But like I said, on Yahoo, where Gray's up to $46, only a $4 difference between him and Bieber. I think Bieber's just the guy I want to go to. Even if you could get up to Kershaw, I could see doing that. But on DraftKings, those $2,000 you save going from Bieber to Gray, I think are going to be pretty significant on this slate. So I like Gray a lot over on DK at 9,700. But ranking the stud pitchers, I would definitely go Bieber number 1, Kershaw number 2. Probably would go Herman 3, Strasburg 4, and Nola 5. Herman, Strasburg, and Nola are pretty much going to be secondary options for me. Don't have a ton of interest in them. Just given the matchups and the price tag and the other guys we have on the slate, like Nola against Boston, I probably won't play any Nola today. Strasburg against the Pirates, I might have a small percentage of because Strasburg's just that good of a pitcher. But it's not a great matchup. The Pirates don't strike out much. Same can be said for Herman facing Oakland. Not the greatest matchup. Oakland doesn't strike out much either versus right-handed pitching. So Bieber, Kershaw, if you can fit them, but my favorite guy for SP1 is going to be Sonny Gray at 9,700. And then the guy that I'm going to go to a lot at SP2 is going to be Aaron Sanchez. He was someone that I played a ton of in his last start against Oakland, and he really burned me. He really struggled in that start. But I'm going right back to him here at home against the Tigers. This is a great spot for Aaron Sanchez. Really good bounce back spot. He's been with the Astros for 3 games, and 2 of those 3 starts have been really good. At home against Seattle and against Baltimore, he was really good. Like I said, in his last start on the road against Oakland, he really struggled, allowed 7 hits, 6 runs through 5 innings, gave up 4 home runs in Oakland, which is definitely a concern, but this matchup doesn't concern me at all. Even though Sanchez really struggled, I expect him to bounce back here. I think he's going to be a much better pitcher than he was to begin the year. He's already been changing up how he throws his pitches, like what pitches he throws a certain amount of time. I think he's been throwing like his fastball a lot more, which has been a lot more effective for him. There's one of his pitches that he's like quit throwing that's worked out as well. And I think that's something that the Astros pitching staff's going to work on with him. Sanchez is going to be a good pitcher rest of season, or a better pitcher, I should say, than he was when he was with the Blue Jays. And a home matchup against the Tigers is definitely a spot where Sanchez should perform pretty well. Given the price tag on DraftKings as well, it's so cheap. On Yahoo, he's cheap as well at 33. Have a lot of interest in Aaron Sanchez today. But that's my 2 plays for pitching. Other guys we could maybe consider if you're playing a lot of lineups and you want to get some exposure to different guys. Like Dallas Keuchel at home against the Marlins, I don't think is the worst play. The Marlins do have a really low total. It's a bad Marlins lineup. Keuchel's a heavy favorite. He did face the Marlins in Marlins Park a couple starts ago and just absolutely got blown up. I don't expect that here. If you want to go to Keuchel, you could definitely look to him, but going to be more of a secondary play. Same for Cole Hamels at home against the Giants. Hamels a guy you could look to at 7,800, but he's probably going to be more of a secondary play for me. For value, if you want to go to some different value plays besides Sanchez, I think you could definitely take a look at a guy like Jalen Beeks for 4,400 on DraftKings. Very, very cheap. It looks like he's going to be the starter, so he should be able to go 90 to 100 pitches. He did start his last game against the Padres. He actually started the game, didn't come in for relief. Threw 92 pitches, which is something we like to see. If he's going to start here at home against the Mariners, really good matchup. Cheap price tag, great ballpark for pitching. Jalen Beeks as a value play makes a lot of sense in my opinion. If you need to pay up for bats and you want to still get an expensive pitcher, I think Beeks is probably the guy you look to at 4,400 for value. Maybe even a guy like Alex Young at 5,800 against the Rockies outside of Coors Field. You could look there, but I think my favorite pay down option for punt play would definitely be Jalen Beeks at 4,400. But that's kind of it for pitching for today. Let's go ahead and look at some bats. I want to start off with the Angels because the Angels are going to be a team I look to a lot here. Looks like it's going to be Brock Burke pitching. Right now, DraftKings has Joe Palumbo pitching, but this is a doubleheader today between the Rangers and the Angels. There is a doubleheader. It's a 2 o'clock game, and it looks like Palumbo's going to pitch the early game. So Brock Burke, a lefty, going to pitch the night game. Really nothing special about him. I like a lot of the righties from the Angels. This is going to be great hitting weather, 100-degree temperatures, a lot of humidity. The righties, I think, are really good plays from the Angels side. I really like Trout. He's one of my favorite pay-up options today. If you can find a way to fit him in, I think he's a go-to spend-up option at the outfield. I like him a lot on both sides. $27 on Yahoo, $5,500 on DraftKings. Not much needs to be said here. Trout's one of the best hitters in the league, if not the best hitter in the league. Facing a left-handed pitcher who is not that great. Trout, we know, has just crushed lefties throughout his career. Plus, you factor in the ballpark, the hitting weather. Mike Trout feels like a really good option today. Also, David Fletcher as a value if you're stacking the Angels, I do like quite a bit. You can play him at third base or shortstop. He's dirt cheap on DraftKings at only $4,100. On Yahoo, we're going to talk about a cheap shortstop that I do like, so that's why I'm not going to include Fletcher in there. But you can still go to Fletcher on Yahoo if you're stacking the Angels because he's pretty cheap at $12. But I do like Elvis Andrus over on Yahoo. Elvis Andrus is minimum salary here, which doesn't really make much sense to me. He should not be this cheap. The matchup with Andrew Heaney isn't that good because Heaney is a pretty good pitcher, but still you factor in that Andrus is going to have the platoon split. He's always been better versus lefties than righties. It's great hitting weather, same hitting weather that the Angels are going to get, 100 degrees with some humidity. I like Andrus a lot on Yahoo at minimum salary. Feels like one of the better optimal cash plays. Whether you're looking to stack Rangers, don't think I'll be stacking the Rangers, but if you want to play Andrus as a one-off, I think that makes a ton of sense, especially where he's minimum salary. Then to fill out my 5 for DraftKings, a guy that I played a lot of on Monday night that I'm going to be going right back to is Trent Grisham. Don't know why he's so cheap on DraftKings. He was priced up to $3,500 for Monday night slate, and now he's back down to a stupid price of $2,800. I talked about it in Monday's video, but this is a guy that has some power, has some speed. He gets a matchup with Michael Wacha that I like a lot. Wacha's just not that good of a pitcher. He does struggle to lefties. Trent Grisham should be leading off again, and only 2,800 feels like a top value again on Tuesday's slate. Whether you're stacking the Brewers or you just want to play Grisham as a one-off, feels like a really good option on DK given the price tag. But going back over to Yahoo to fill out my 5 plays, one guy that I like a lot on Yahoo and a team I think is going to be a team I target quite a bit are the Phillies here versus Brian Johnson. Rhys Hoskins is only $13 on Yahoo, which is way too cheap in my opinion, facing a left-handed pitcher like Brian Johnson, who's really not that good. Johnson has always struggled to righties, so Hoskins, Realmuto, Segura I like a lot. If you want to play Hernandez, you could definitely look there. Scott Kingery, you could go to. Even the lefties, Johnson's been better versus lefties, but the lefties are not easy outs. Bryce Harper, Corey Dickerson, Logan Morrison's not that good of a hitter, but he has a decent amount of power. 5.6 implied run total for the Phillies. The Phillies are for sure going to be a team I look to. And Rhys Hoskins, very cheap price tag on Yahoo. It's going to be a guy that I play quite a bit of at $13. But these are my 5 plays for Yahoo and my 5 plays for DraftKings today. Now let's go ahead and look at some stacks real quick, then we'll talk about some BVP before we end the video. So just a couple of teams I really like. I think the Phillies versus Brian Johnson are in a really good spot. The Braves do have one of the higher totals on the slate versus Eliza Hernandez. You could definitely look to some Braves bats. 6.5 implied run total. Pretty good hitting weather. We know how good the Braves offense is. Braves for sure going to be a team I try and get to if I can pay up for their bats, for the bats in that lineup. But then you have guys like Grisham, whether you want to stack the Brewers or not. Grisham feels like a great play against Wacha. But if you are stacking the Brewers, I think that does make some sense. You have a lot of power at the top. Grisham, Grandal, Yelich, Moustakas all feel like pretty good plays today. And then this Rangers-Angels game I like quite a bit. More on the Angels side versus Burke. If you do want to target some righties versus Heaney, I think that makes sense. But I really like the righties from the Angels. Fletcher, Trout, Upton, Pujols. Then you got value with Renfrigo, Stassi, and Tovar, all dirt cheap on DraftKings. So the Angels are for sure going to be a top stack for me. It is a 15-game slate, so there's obviously more teams you could target. Astros have a really high total. The Twins have a pretty high total. Even the D-backs versus Kyle Freeland have a pretty high total. So those are teams that I'll for sure have some exposure to. Even maybe like the Yankees against Homer Bailey you could look to. But I think that's it for stacks. Now going over some BVP real quick before we end the video. A couple BVP plays that do stand out. Just looking at some of them. Dexter Fowler gone 11 for 24 with the home run off Gio Gonzalez. Matt Wieters 10 for 17 with the home run off Gonzalez. Paul Goldschmidt 10 for 17 as well. Buster Posey 13 for 24, 2 home runs off Cole Hamels. Ryan Goins 6 for 14 off Michael Pineda. Wilmer Flores 4 for 10 with the home run off Kyle Freeland. Ketel Marte 7 for 19. Nick Ahmed 6 for 20 with the home run. Lastly, Cameron Maybin going 5 for 12 with the home run off of Homer Bailey. So that's it for my 5 plays today for DraftKings and for Yahoo, guys. Hopefully you did enjoy this video, and hopefully it did help you. Thank you so much for watching. I do really appreciate it. Drop a like if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you are new. If you have any questions, feel free to hit me up on Twitter at the DFS_GOAT, or leave any comments, questions you have down in the comment section below. But good luck tonight, guys. Appreciate you watching the video. We will see you in the next one. Peace.